Let me take you 3 years forward to the year 2021. You are visiting Goa again for a family holiday. You take your children for a walk to the beaches. Your children see dozens of plastic bottles, plastic pieces along the entire coastal lines. In a few days, when you are back in office, you see old printers, computers put away in the side corners. On your way back home, you see heaps of municipal waste across the entire city. And once you are at home, while hanging your clothes, shirts, you see old clothing dumped in the side cupboards. This is how we are going to see in our daily life. In a matter of 3-4 years, practically all over India, I repeat, all over India. Scrap everywhere, along the beaches, in the office, across the city, and right at your home. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of my presentation today is to walk you through how we can convert this scrap into a profitable projects for prosperity and employment. Honorable Minister Ji, Virender Ji, Narendra Ji, Arjun Ji, Dr. Vijay Ji, Chief Secretary, Joint Secretaries, Recycling Association, President, Chairman, Board Members, Sanjay Babu, Ranjit Ji, Salam Ji, Sudhir Ji, Robin, Mark, Brian, ladies and gentlemen. While you could see plenty of input scrap, but what about finance for such projects? May I say, equally there is as much plentiful availability of finance for such projects. The banks are desperate to look green and social, and when they invest in such ventures, they do indeed look green and social. It's a matter of reputation for them. Last year, in the year 2017, the Global World Banks, they raised $110 billion for such green projects by issuing so-called green bonds. And this was about 30% higher than the amount they raised in 2016. Are you aware that some of the most important pension funds, they are vigorously opposing investment in oil and fossil-based industry? As a matter of fact, over $5 trillion have been divested from the oil and fossil-based industry by the year 2016, and those funds are looking for a home. I can give you a long list of pension funds with deep pockets who would welcome you with the open heart, open hands for such investment. The World Bank issued last year $2 billion such green bonds, the largest one for investment in such projects, especially for emerging economies like India. Besides, the world is awash with liquidity. Banks, even in a small country like Belgium, which has a population of only 12 million people, they are sitting on a deposit of 200 billion euros. No wonder my company, Gemini Corporation, is able to get funds at less than 1%. So you have input, you have finance. What about government support? While the graceful presence of 3 very senior ministers in this conference conspicuously and clearly reflect the importance the government is attaching to the recycling industry. Wherever you go, the importance is quite substantial. While, do you know who are the biggest beneficiaries of the tax cut in the US by Trump? In the list, the second biggest beneficiaries are the recycling industry in US. I think there are 2 more reasons India would have to support these recycling projects. The first one, India is a signatory to the Paris Agreement where 195 countries have signed. And under the agreement, India has an obligation to reduce the growth of carbon credits And I think the easiest way where you can reduce this carbon credit growth is by such projects. The second reason, the general public perception that you have to reduce these carbon credits, you have to be clear on hygienic, on cleanliness, and there is more need for social purpose rather than economic purpose when it comes to recycling. You cannot keep on landfilling all the time like we are currently doing in India. I think sooner and later there would be similar situation like we have in Europe where there are landfill bays. So you have input, you have finance, you have government support. What about machineries? While worldwide there have been tremendous development in the technology on recycling. You have a different system, different process to sort out, to collect scrap, quality-wise, color-wise, size-wise. And Europe is pioneer when it comes to recycling technologies. And they have done wonderful well in putting across and disseminating the information in the internet. Plenty of options, and particularly when there is a volume business. Talking of volume, the plastic bottle business is already worth $100 billion worldwide. Every minute, 1 million bottles are being bought somewhere in the world, and it's growing. Talking about e-scrap business, when it comes to telephone only, there are 4 billion telephone users in the world. Last year, the world produced 1.5 billion smartphones. I'm not talking about mobile phones. 1.5 billion smartphones. A lot of phones for recycling. As per a report which came out in November 2017, I have a copy of that report from UN. The world produced 45 million tons of e-waste in 2016, 45 million tons. And it contained the value of $55 billion worth of the materials, 55. Municipal business, municipal waste business is worth $300 billion business worldwide. So you have plenty of volume, plenty of opportunities. Talking about opportunities, can you believe there is a company in Holland which is engaged in recycling of metal and materials after funeral and cremation? I'm talking after funeral and cremation. The company is known as Ortho Metals in Meppel, Holland. Can you believe there is a company in US which is engaged in ladies' inner garment recycling? Please forgive me for my next sentence. The company is known as Mrai Recycling. Such real-life examples clearly indicate that there are compelling opportunities in recycling business. So compelling that somebody has to do it. Somebody will do it sooner or later. It could be that somebody could be you or someone else in India or abroad. Why not in India? Why not for us and for our children? Our children should not say, hey, our forefathers have left us with lots of scrap as a legacy. Actually, we have borrowed this planet from our children only. We have an obligation to do something for the materials like plastic waste, e-scrap waste, municipal waste. Every minute, one garbage truck goes into the ocean, and at this speed, at this rate, there would be more plastic than fish in the ocean by the year 2050. Plastics can remain in its original form not for 7 generations, but for 27 generations. We humans have produced 8,000 million tons of plastics now, 8,000 million tons of plastics. And of these 8,000, 6,000 million tons have already become waste. Shamefully, regrettably, only 9% have been recycled. And when it comes to recycling, Belgium is a pioneer country. My company, Gemini Corporation, is located in Belgium. Infrastructure of my company is at your disposal for job creation, for opportunities like e-waste hub in India. I believe India could become a very interesting e-waste recycling hub. our Indian import policy can be a catalyst for the growth of this industry. Holland is known for flower business, despite the fact it has a very small land base. Belgium is known for diamond business, despite the fact it doesn't have even a single cutting diamond factories. Despite similar challenges, India could become an interesting hub for the recycling of telephones, server, printers, and that would unleash a lot of metals, a lot of plastics, and our knowledge of legacy, knowledge of IT could be very interesting for this project. Talking about employment, Your Excellencies, you would agree with me that recycling and waste management is a labor-intensive industry. And this is one of the main reasons Europe does not want to export its scrap out of Europe. They want to keep waste within Europe. They want to do it for their domestic recycling, for domestic employment. Every month, 1 million Indians enter the workforce for the first time. A developed Indian recycling industry would be able to absorb quite few of them. With that objective in mind, the Indian recycling industry are seeking some blessings from you, His Excellencies. Please waive or reduce GST from scrap or recycled material. And this is what Korea and Europe have been doing. Please introduce the system of extended producer's responsibility. The producers of the product should be responsible for their recycling. A small nominal recycling levy fees can be added to the product. And that levy, that funds, would be used primarily for promotion of recycling of that product. I strongly believe when properly communicated to the consumers, particularly to the young people, they would willingly accept this method. And on this recycling point, I think we would add so many labor-intensive different ideas. The next, please establish the carbon credit system. Similar what China has done, similar what Europe has done. China came out with this policy on 19th December last month, on 19th December 2017. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my wish list that I try to give you as much latest best practices as possible. Set up long-term recycling targets for different materials, for plastic, for metal, for rubber, for household waste. And accordingly, please announce irreversible long-term policy decisions corresponding to these targets. And I assure you, if there are irreversible long-term policy decisions, there will be huge investment from abroad, a huge investment from abroad. And this is what the Dutch government have been doing. When it comes to the government purchase, please give extra weightage to those goods which are produced from recycled content, like the US government is doing from the EPEAT system. Please establish a recycling park near the city centers, like the Belgian government is doing. And finally, please encourage, I repeat the word encourage, please encourage uninterrupted import of scrap for economy of scale. While in this conference, the who's who of the world recycling industry are present, His Excellencies, they would confirm to you, once these steps are taken, the Indian recycling industry would turn itself into a huge machine for creation of prosperity and employment, for wealth and job. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.